the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you're ready, call the roll. No, you can't get in, you're ready.
I got it. Call the roll.
How are they? Are they still playing?
Chairwoman Bainey.
Here.
Commissioner Vianda.
Present.
Commissioner Grubich.
Present.
Commissioner Sturworth.
Here.
Mayor Jett.
Here.
Alderman Schaefer.
Here.
All right, Tina had sent everybody the meeting minutes in the packet, and they're included in here too. So if anyone had anything, any comments, or if we're ready for a motion to approve those.
I'll move to approve the minutes. Second.
Second. Do you have to call the roll for that, Tina? or- Pardon?
Jeff did second. I'm not gonna use the mic if you guys don't mind. Sorry. Chairwoman Bainey.
Approved.
Commissioner Vianda.
Approved.
Commissioner Grubich.
Approved.
Commissioner Sturworth.
Approved.
Mayor Jett.
Approved.
Alderman Schaefer.
Approved.
Motion carried.
You weren't here at the last meeting?
No.
So it's an abstain.
Abstain.
Oh.
Is there actually a rule says you can't vote on them if you're not here?
A what?
Is there a rule that
I
says
believe
it?
it, yes.
Supposed to abstain, I believe.
Oh, really?
You have to abstain.
Wow, you
if
better
you're
change
not
our
at
whole
the
council
desk.
meetings around. We don't do that there.
All that work you've been doing. Yeah.
All those meeting minutes are incorrect.
At least
But
you
you
get the
weren't
name.
there, so how can you, I mean,
At least you do help us with the name,
It sounds good.
Yeah, it is,
Appreciate that.
it is spelled wrong in the first sentence there, but I didn't make a comment on it because I wasn't here.
All right, I'm gonna go with the public input is probably, just off for the moment, yeah, off for the moment. So Dorothy, did you wanna tell us about the business cards? Thank you.
you all have your
You're
business
right.
cards.
It was on the agenda, I thought.
So
maybe that's what it
it's
is.
just, we wanted to pass them out to everybody. You each have 50, there's more. I don't know if you'll need them, and, they just have all your names, so just use them to identify if you talk to businesses. I did talk to is it the Purple Pig? Who, was it you, Jason, that went and?
Oh, pig minds?
Pig
Oh,
minds,
that's
pig
right,
minds.
yeah.
I did call and leave them a message, they never called me back.
Okay.
But I have a follow-up set up to just kind of check again. It looks like a really cool place. But that kind of thing, if you're out visiting businesses and, you know, you talk to somebody and think maybe they're interested or you would like to see them in McHenry, leave the card and give us their information, and that'll be our connection. Be a good, besides your name tag when you go out looking at things, a good identification.
Awesome, thank you. Doug, I'll hand over the next few things to you.
So I want to thank Tina for putting together this list of business, are we on that? Oh yeah, list of businesses. It includes all businesses. It's not every business, but it's a pretty good start. I would encourage you to go through it. You know, if you know some information that's missing, you know, you can fill it in, or if there's stuff that's incorrect. What we tried to do is also geographically group them. and it's a good communication tool. Pretty much everyone is online and using email, and it's a good way to communicate with businesses, and also to keep track of who's coming and who's going, who's downtown, who's up north, who's in the business park. So if there's something that you see here or that you'd like it, via email or some other format or any other comments, please let us know.
So as of right now, we're not gonna actually do anything, we're not reaching out to these people, we're just kind of trying to keep.
Actually, I'm gonna talk about, sort of get to that in another item, which I could skip to real quick. I could go under 10.3, the Core Illinois, which is, Dorothy and I met with the state of Illinois, and they have this program called Core, and it's basically a business retention and attraction program that they try to assist communities, encourage them to reach out to businesses, and they give you a sample business retention survey to try to get to companies that may be struggling or maybe doing well, to find out simple things like how many employees they may have, are they growing, are they expanding, do they looking for new locations, just to get in the door, so to speak. So to that end, we have provided some information in your packet that the state provided us, and I don't think they emailed this to us yet.
No, they did not.
But they are going to email this to us. Some of these businesses on the spreadsheet are not in the city of McHenry because they do, go by zip code. There's some information on here that we'd rather you not share with everybody. It's not classified information, but it's just the state keeps data and they on businesses, and they don't really look at businesses one by one. They look at the aggregate, but they look at trends, and they do have financial data because they collect data on finances, and so certain companies they do have numbers on, and if they're in your community, they may provide information, say maybe visit these companies, maybe visit these companies for certain reasons. So what I wanted to bring up at this committee was, I want to make as one of my goals is, which I've been lacking in doing, is going out to, and these would be primary employers, but they could also be non-primary employers like retailers and downtown businesses, so we could have multiple groups do this, is visit businesses. But for the primary employers, there's a formal kind of survey, and you don't have to answer every question, it's more of a conversation. And if I went into a company and I'd be looking to see if anybody be interested in attending that with me, and going on and usually you go on a tour of their operation, they kind of tell you what they do, and you just try to reach out to them and see what's going on within their company. And you could also do that at the smaller business level, downtown, or non-primary employer level, just to see what's going on, what kind of feedback they give you about the community. That's also very helpful. So I wanted to bring that up as to see if there's any interest. I know that tours is one of the committees, but this is kind of a little bit more in-depth than a tour. This is kind of going and visiting a business and doing they call it a business retention visit, so to speak.
I'll add, it's something that we wanted to do. We started looking at this maybe 2 years ago, but we didn't have time with everything else we were doing. And now that we are a department all of our own, it's one of the goals we want to do is to one or both of us or going in and just putting the names and the faces together and letting them know we're here and letting them know the commission is formed and how can we help keep you in McHenry or expand or whatever.
Are these things you make appointments for ahead of time, or are you just kind of?
Yeah, these are things
Okay.
you would make appointments for ahead of time. If it was something, definitely for the manufacturers and business park type businesses, if it were something where you wanted to go downtown, say, you could definitely pick an afternoon and just walk downtown and pop in the stores, and if one's open, you know, you go in and you kinda look around, and you go, oh, hi, I'm Doug or I'm Bobby, we're from the City of McHenry Economic Development Commission, you know, we're just kinda wondering, and you just kinda talk to them, and that you really don't need appointments for. And if a business is closed, you just go to the next business. But for the manufacturers, generally you would make appointments for, cause you're really taking kind of 20 to 30 minutes of their time, and you wanna make sure that, you know, you're not, you know, taking them away from something else.
And the list that the state will provide us is it's a good starting point. These are companies that, now, this was just a sample,
Is
this
this-
one
this
we're
is kind of-
providing you.
Okay.
It would be similar information, but not as much, because they gave us way too much information. But they would give us a list of companies that we should prioritize and try to go, because there's some indicator that, you know, they're staying, and why are they staying for a long time, or, you know, they might be close to leaving, or there's a reason for that. It's a start, besides the other companies that are on our business list that we maybe just haven't touched base with.
Okay, would it be, how would be the best way to coordinate this, like, if you were to schedule meetings, obviously you kinda got some of the businesses that they're gonna provide, can we send that out to the commission and let people, maybe you make appointments and then put those out there and let everybody know when you'll be going and see who's available, so we can,
Yeah, I
We can
would.
do it that way.
I just, I'm trying,
rather-
yeah.
I'd do it that way, and this would be once, maybe twice a month.
Right.
I mean, this is not gonna be very often, and, but I think it would be important to do both sides of the spectrum, you know, and not just downtown, I think it's important to do, you know, the whole community.
The business park,
You
the other,
know.
I did Green Street doing the
I was gonna say,
projecting
you
signs.
did that
It was fabulous. After I did it, we got so much more interest, and there were more Facebook posts, and there was a whole lot of interest in what's going in downtown, but we need that elsewhere. We need that in the business park, we need that everywhere else, and, you know, I may do that, Doug may do that ourselves, just the initial introduction, and then follow up with a phone call, can we set up a meeting, and then, yeah, we could definitely let you know when we have those set up.
Yeah, I just think that would be easy, you know, be probably an easier way for people to know what's happening, and then if anyone does wanna go do some of those other businesses, or you happen to be somewhere and you start the conversation, should we just email you and let you know, hey, we had this conversation, cause now we've got cards we can leave, and we could actually be doing that if we happen to be going into some of the smaller businesses that probably aren't top of Doug's radar.
Yeah, and that's a good point, I would do that, if you talk to a business and they say, you know, the city's awesome, you know, I mean, that's great. But if they say, you know, I really can't stand X, let us know. Or if you have a contact at a specific industry or business, one of the hardest things that is to get a contact at a manufacturer, especially one with 300 and 400 employees.
Who do we talk to?
So if you are out in the community and you say, someone says, I'd like to speak to someone, or if they start asking you questions that you don't know the answers to, just hand them a card and say, I will make sure someone gets back to you. So we can go both routes like that.
And send us an email, just let us know, I stopped in here, I talked to this person, gave them your card.
And we just need an address, that's all we need.
Yep.
Okay. Excellent.
And then the economic development plan is something else that we're kind of working on updating. It was first started by Joe Napolitano, who was here a while ago, and is in Woodstock now, and then I finished it. It was adopted by the council in 2009, and needless to say, needs to be updated. So Dorothy's been taking that and is gonna start by updating some of the census data. So we've had the 2010 census data since then, and now we're gonna have the 2020 census data in a year and a half, so come out. So we're gonna be, that's in front of you. And the other thing I just wanna say is a lot of the information there is antiquated, and, but this is the current plan on the books. So we're gonna update, you know, the numbers, the census data and stuff like that, but if there's stuff in this economic development plan that you think, you know, should be looked at, or a different approach, you know, please, you know, give us some feedback on how you think that should be done, or what you think should go in here, because this is obviously not been looked at for a while.
And I would like to add, I found this, I honestly have to say, I didn't know this existed. I found it looking through documents, and I went, Doug, is this what we're following? It is in effect, and it is, as I'm updating it, I'm gonna update the census information, but I'm gonna try to keep it in there so you can see what it was and what it is now. I don't wanna wait till 2020, cause it's probably gonna be 2021 before we get that information. And right now, this is so antiquated that businesses looking at this, the population doesn't match, the numbers don't match for employment. We need updated information to give to them. But it is important, and I would like to ask everybody to please try to look at it within the next week or so. And if there's something, a goal in here, or something that we need to talk about as part of the commission, let us know so that we can start including that in the discussion. Kind of like our comprehensive plan was 10 years old, and we're now tackling that in planning and zoning. This needs updating.
So one of the things that I see, right, it's just dumb luck that I turned to this page, but under the housing piece, I think what would be interesting to maybe look at is, in the middle of page 7, it talks about the average sale price of a single-family home in McHenry in 2007 was X amount. Well, we all know what great years 2007 and 2008 were in our community as far as the housing market goes. And builders stopped building. And I think it'd be interesting to see what was happening then to what's happening 2010 or even after that.
And that's what I'm working
Yeah.
on, off of census data and other data that we have. That's what I'm going through, literally line by line, page by page.
Well, because I think the interesting dynamic to that would be drawing from, this is what's happened since 2007 till present day, and here's how the city of McHenry is addressing these gaps, or whatever that might look like as far as economic development and the development of our community. Because that's what people are gonna say, that people aren't moving here anymore, so what are you doing to make this more attractive? And I think that's what showcasing that would probably be a benefit.
Ironic.
Our taxes are probably higher than that, until 2007.
Yeah.
Another thing to bring up is,
Yeah, so
that's why people aren't moving here.
And in updating it, that was
It's-
Doug's direction to me was, don't just replace, include, so you can see the comparison.
Sure.
So that's what I'm working on right now.
Dorothy, do you have all the sub-area plans, like what we have for the
Yeah.
east and west, Route 120 and things like that? You have that?
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Mhm.
Because that's very similar to this too. It has a lot of data in it and stuff.
I think the average price of a house today is $169. Just as a point of information.
Better not be selling anything. What's the upstanding problem?
That's average.
Convert it to a rental.
All right, well, on that depressing note,
So I would ask if everybody could look at it in the next week or so, just, I mean, kind of go through it. It doesn't take that long, it really doesn't. Don't look at the census data, don't look at the numbers, because I'm already working on that, but the other content, the goals, the strategy that is in this, anything else you see that maybe, should be addressed, even in the introduction or whatever that you think would be a benefit to our economic development. Email Doug or I, or Doug and I, and let us know.
Yeah, a lot of this data is from 2000 even,
Mhm.
so even, yeah, wow,
Mhm.
okay. Alrighty. Committee updates. I guess I'll start. Tour of the college is September 11th. We're gonna get that meeting posted. We will meet in Building B, which is, the parking lot that's kind of on the east side of the building, so it's kind of lower, and that's where their cafeteria is, so when you come in, it's a big open space, and, I'll make sure to be there a little before everybody, so we can all gather, and then they're just gonna give us a tour of the entire college, and hopefully the new science center, which is absolutely amazing, and some of the, manufacturing courses that they've got and things that they're offering that were kind of one of the reasons we wanted to get out there and see what they're actually doing and how we can kind of fit some needs in terms of workforce and things by working with them. So that's September 11th. Actually, I jumped way down, because that's not even, committee updates, is it? No,
Towards
we're
the
gonna keep going, we're gonna keep going.
So-
Doug, do you wanna talk about the expo coming up?
Yeah, so the manufacturing trade, and I can't believe it's already that soon. Trade and Industry Expo is October 2nd at East Campus. You know, we've got about 41 companies, including the college, the high school, no, really, plus the college and the high school. And I think it'll be better than last year. So if you can make it out, promote it, we'll send the stuff out on email, so if you get it out. We're really trying to get to the parents and junior high students. If you can get junior high students, we seem to get a lot of high school students, not that we can't get more, but if you can get junior high or any way to get to junior high, that would be preferable too.
How do we promote that within D15?
I'll send it to D15. I send them the flyer, they send it home with all the kids, or they send it, I'm sorry, to all the parents via email. You know, we just, I'm sure we'll start to get some kids from D15, so we've been pretty good partners with them, so.
Parent to parent, Facebook, face to face, best way to share with that. Once the school has it and sends it out, then the parents go, what is this? But if somebody can kind of talk to them about it, makes it easier.
So here's a thought, just off the top of my head. What if, as a commission or the city, to reach out to the junior high students, we put together some kind of scavenger hunt that a student has to complete at this expo, and then return whatever their list is to us, and then they get some kind of award or something like that for going through that and making a challenge out of some of these kids that they gotta go to this thing, and they're gonna do all of these things and learn about different things and then bring it back, and then they're recognized at a meeting or whatever for actually completing this task.
One of the things we talked about was, and I'm gonna talk to Carl at the high school, is doing a chart with all the companies on it. Because we found that it was a little bit confusing, people didn't know where the companies were, so.
Like where they're located?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if they got all the companies checked off.
Well, so I go to like conferences all the time, and it's amazing the things that they do for these licensed professionals. They'll give them a bingo sheet with all the vendors that are there, and they gotta go around and get all the representatives to sign it, and then they turn it in and they go into a draft for, like, I think the last one I was at, they gave away a big screen TV. If you got your bingo sheet picked, I mean, you could do something like that where all the companies, these kids have to go around and get it signed. And I mean, I know kids are gonna go there and they're gonna do it just to check off the list, to try to win something, but you can't be anywhere for an hour and not get something out of it, right? You might see something really cool and ask, what is that all about? And somebody takes 5 seconds to tell you what it's about, you're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Well, Wayne donates memorabilia from the Bears and the Blackhawks that are signed, autographed. So if you go, you get a ticket. If you bring a parent, you get another ticket. If you get these things checked off, maybe you get another ticket. I mean, anything we can do to encourage kids to get tickets.
Would you be willing to do the?
Well, I think Carl, I gotta talk to him. I think, we're at the point now where we've kind of hit the companies that we could put something together. I gotta talk to Carl, but maybe we could do something like that if somebody turns it in. And we could do it for anybody.
But instead, I kinda, because I've done the same bingo cards at conferences, I think more, instead of making it for every company, like sometimes it's more like topics, like, find a company that has a 3D printer in their building. You know, so.
Or that makes springs for
or that
aerosol
makes,
cans.
yeah, so you're not trying to get them to meet every company, you're trying to get them to ask questions that teaches them something about that particular
Otherwise, they're just going out,
manufacturing.
well, can you
Which
sign my-
company?
Yeah,
sign
you
my
don't want
card,
just
sign
want,
my
yeah, I
card,
mean, we
sign
don't
my
want them just to
card.
visit every booth, we want them to learn something, and they could learn it from multiple booths, but, you
Which
know,
company
or, you know, meet somebody that's
Yeah.
currently hiring, you know, and they, you know, so that they're asking, hey, is your company hiring? You know, and so they're actually asking questions
So
and
maybe
engaging.
do like 5 questions with a couple of
Or
fill in the
you
blanks
could do
there.
a literal bingo card, and all they need to do is get a bingo, so they actually just have to get some of those questions, and they have to become engaged with the people that are there. And whether they get an extra ticket, or whether that's its own raffle, you know, would just be based on what we kinda have available, but it is a great way to get conversations started and getting kids to actually ask questions
And we-
besides just kinda look, you know, wander around.
And
We can suggest
from my
Carl.
my brain and all the kids I've raised, and there are kids that belong at these expos that if a teacher were to give them extra credit, we're not looking for the kid that was getting straight A's in English and I mean, you're looking for the kid who's kind of lost, right, and doesn't really know what's out there and what's available. That's the kid we're looking for, and we're not talking about. Sorry, I got on my soapbox, but I'm not looking. Me personally, I wouldn't be looking as a parent for this kind of stuff for my kid to get involved as a junior or senior. I'm looking for my kid to get involved as a 7th and 8th grade because they've marched to the beat of a different drum from the beginning, and they know they're not the traditional student and they're not the traditional college student. They might be looking at something completely different, and I think that's when Doug's talking about getting to the junior high level. I think that's the piece that we missed out on, because from an educator standpoint, their job is to get them to high school, and after that, their job's done, right? They don't think about job prep, and in the junior high, they're just not.
So is that something Carl would talk to Ellen Hoffman about? Could this was a thought?
Well, let me talk to Carl, maybe even we could put something together. It doesn't have to be every company either, we could just do 6 or 8. I mean, if we're gonna do something like you're suggesting, a company that has this, it's gonna be more difficult. So let's see what we can come up with.
Well, and I think that can be, you can come at it from 2 sides. You can come at it from the student attending and the parents attending, but you're also, when you're talking to these companies, you can ask them, what makes you unique for this expo? Like, we're talking about trying to do this curriculum bingo, whatever we wanna label it as. What is something we can actually showcase your company that makes you different? Like, they might say, I don't know, we're a minority-owned company, right? Or nobody in our administrative staff or nobody in our ownership went to college. You know, or something like that, and it gets them excited about wanting to promote their business. Like, yeah, this is what makes us different.
Stuff that'll get the kids engaged and not just.
Well, and it gets the
Yes or no
employer,
question.
it gets the employers engaged too, because they're like, yeah, I wanna be part of that. I wanna be part of making my company different, and I'm working with the city to make this expo even better.
Okay, thanks, that's a good idea. Let me see what I can recommend.
Yeah, if you guys have, I mean, obviously Jason's got ideas, if I'd be happy to throw out some thoughts. I'm sure if, email everybody if they had some ideas to add to it. I think that's a really good way to get kids talking. Cause I think to your point, a lot of the kids that get there don't know what to ask, and they maybe don't know how to engage with, a big corporation that's got, and that kind of puts it on their level too.
Yeah,
Makes
it
it
doesn't
kind of
take
fun.
much.
Yeah, yeah.
I went to this party, and this just completely popped into my head, but I went to this party one time when I was in college, and it was one of the most interesting things. Every man that walked into the party got a key, and every woman that walked into the party got a lock. And the task was for you to find the key and the lock that actually went together.
It made you talk to everybody.
That's
What-
interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty, I mean, it forces
Don't tell us
engagement.
what happened after that.
I'm not gonna say, the story stops there, but, I mean, it's just something completely different that, it gives them a task to try to figure out. And I think there's a little bit of like, curiosity that goes with that, like, well, I could just put the key down and leave, but at the same time, you're like, well, what does this key unlock? Right?
It's an interesting idea.
All right, old business and committees.
Well, we
Or-
skipped
oh.
number 9.
Well, that's because it was committee updates, which is all in the committee reports, I think. So I
Well, we
did
didn't-
kind of skip
No,
it. Oh,
this
we
is
had the
this-
video we want to talk about there. Okay, sorry, I thought it was.
And business recognition and tours, has anything been done with
9
the
and 10 kind
tour?
of blend together.
Yeah, I asked Rob if anything was going on with tours. I had sent him an email. He's obviously not here today, and he didn't respond that he had put anything together, so I have not heard anything on that at all.
Can we just update our list, Tina? Can you take, who is the tour committee again? Is it you and Rob and Jeff?
No, it was Rob.
Okay, Rob,
I don't.
and who else?
It was Eric Bjorn, but obviously it's not anymore. So it's Rob.
So Rob and another committee member should probably, I mean.
Yeah, he may know that, I'm not sure.
Okay. And
I
then
know-
business recognition is you, Bobby, and
And
Pat
Pat,
Arnold.
yeah.
Okay. Just so we can have that, cause we seem to forget every.
Yeah.
We wanna have that down.
Okay. And you guys had an update on the video? All right.
So, last time we talked, we had kind of made our recommendations as to what the vendor that we wanted to go with, and we all hashed all that out and made that decision as far as McDaniel's marketing. We've had a couple of conversations, either live or email, and we've come down to, did we receive today did he get I didn't see it.
He sent it
Yes.
literally just before the meeting.
Okay,
I saw it.
so now we have the final contract from him. And what that's going to get us is 3-minute long video and then 1 short video for, kind of a splash video for social media and whatnot. The main video will consist of 3, maybe we're still working on it, 4 interviews with local business owners or leaders in the community. And some other supporting video and stills. And Dorothy actually was able to get together a list of people that had made positive comments on a certain Facebook page that we're all so familiar with. But she was able to pull off, her and I talked about it, and she said, there's a lot of people that are positive on there too. And I said, well, let's find those people then, and we'll use them to our advantage. So she did, so we have a list of them. So I'll be getting in touch with them, via Facebook and just asking their permission if we can use their comment. Our initial thought was to include them in the interviews, but by the time we got done with our list of who we wanted interviewing, it would have been a full feature movie with a budget, and we could not do that. So, so we got it narrowed down to less than a half a dozen. So we'll probably use those as maybe I don't know, some type of splash, stills in the video as well. In the video, the 3-minute video itself will be completely narrated as well. So, and we did go back to them initially and ask, here's our real laundry list. Can you squeeze all this into 3 minutes for the dollar amount that we're comfortable with? And he basically said, no, there's not a chance. We kind of knew it was a pipe dream anyway, but so we are sticking with the budget, and that's what it's going to get us, the 3-minute full-length video as well as a shorter, I think like 30 seconds, is it roughly?
I think
A
it's a
minute.
1 minute, 1
1 minute,
minute,
yeah.
like social media short.
Social media short.
We, you know, they were trying to sell 4-minute video. And we each watched a 4-minute video, and by 2.5 minutes, we're like. So we kind of said, we really don't want it longer. I mean, 4 minutes would be to send it out throughout the state to draw people here. And that's not, I mean, we wanna help, but it just is too long, so.
The challenge we have is we've got several different channels that we can use this for. You know, everybody immediately thinks social media for advertising, but you know, especially within a public entity like the city, we have an email list of business owners and potential business owners that we would be able to send this to. And other folks attend a trade show every year that just happens to be in Las Vegas that is focused. Those of us in the business world, you know, we know what a trade show is. You go hawk your widget, and other people come to buy the widgets and have meetings, offshoots. Well, there's a trade. I didn't know this till I got involved with this. There's trade shows for cities to do the same thing. So Doug, you know, has meetings with potential new businesses that are looking for new cities to expand to. So that would be, you know, a channel, an area that we could use this video in. So, you know, it's really challenging to whittle it all down to 3 minutes, have the right message and target the right people, and make sure that you're talking in a way that can be applicable through all these different channels. So, but we feel really good that we've got a good partner with McDaniels, and I think they'll do a really good job for us.
The important thing was their video did not sound canned.
Yeah.
Compared to the other ones we looked at that were just like
Yeah, there
Charlie
were,
Brown's teacher talking
Yeah,
in your
there's a
ear,
couple
there
of
was character to it. So we're hoping they can follow through with that.
Did they ever say anything about getting raw footage so we could use it for other things, and that maybe Doug could use some of the things that they shoot for
I believe they
blogs
did.
or?
yeah,
I-
as far as owning the raw footage that they take?
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking
since,
about?
I mean, we're spending a lot of
Yeah,
money for
I
them
think-
to do a lot of.
I think we
I'm pretty
did.
sure we'll, make a note of this. I'll follow up with them. But I'm pretty sure they said that we would. And conversely, as a budget saver, they will definitely use anything that we have existing, so.
Excellent. Is that it? Thanks,
So-
Nick. Business recognition, so Pat and I met and we decided that we will have a complete outline of the 3 awards that we want to propose to the commission that we do on an annual basis. Right now we're kind of working on developing like some criteria for what, you know, a name, some criteria for how the process would work and how we would select people. And we'll have that at the September meeting with the intention of kind of starting the program in January and kind of rolling out, here's how people would be nominated and here's when applications would be due and when decisions would be made. So there would be a full plan for 2019 at our next meeting to roll out. So I think that's it for committees.
We just brought these awards, these are just samples of what this is a plaque this is Gary Lang, 35 years.
So anybody 50 years or above right now from the EDC in town gets a glass award like this, but if they're less than that, a certificate, and we go visit them, we will
And
promote
that's just for
it.
years in business,
Years
or
in
in business or
Years-
in McHenry?
Business in
This is a
McHenry.
chef.
Years of business in McHenry. So we used to do it at city council meetings, but we've had some requests, we don't wanna go to a city council meeting, so there's a few of them here, we're gonna go to the businesses, so.
Who doesn't wanna go to a city council meeting?
When we do those, we were gonna do one at the park. We try to do it in conjunction with when they're having a celebration. It doesn't always work, cause they don't always get the information to us. We'll do a press release for them too. We'll share it on McHenry Market Pulse.
We'll include it in a video.
We'll include it in all kinds of things, but, and so these 3 we have waiting. It's Little Chef, Gary Lang Chevrolet and Pioneer Center. And
They
we
really
are-
didn't wanna come to.
Little
council
Chef
meeting?
did not.
Little Chef,
Chef
she's
did
just a
not.
little timid.
She did not.
She's the only one, cause I know when Jessup did his, he loved it.
Yeah, it and he brought family, so we do put that out there, we offer it, you have family members, you know, if the founding father wants to come, bring them, you know? But they don't always wanna do that. Pioneer Center, they were doing a big celebration. We've run through all kinds of scenarios with how to do it, but haven't pinpointed that one down. And Gary Lang, I'm not sure yet if it's gonna be if we're going there, or, you know, that's what we do. So these are the types of awards we give.
Okay.
That's all we do, and we can let you know when we're doing those, be it at a council meeting or at an event. And then it would be great if anybody's available to go to that at the same time with us.
Absolutely. All right. Now jumping back to number 11. You skipped it. Other committees that are going on. Pat's not here for the Riverwalk Foundation. Is there any updates that anybody has on what's going on in the Riverwalk?
I have not been in the last meeting. I do know, regarding a river walk or some design, there has been a meeting that has happened in the committee level of the parks, and there's been a donation, looking for approval for a $75,000 donation along DC Cobb's area for that side of the lagoon, to finish off to behind DC Cobb's in the theater. But as far as the Riverwalk, because of the brewery and so forth, that's looking at Miller Point, they would like us to talk to the Riverwalk Foundation and see if there's some partnership to where there could be some more done on that point or along that creek. So at this point, it's kind of been a stall because of the Miller Point, I think, is where everyone's at.
And the Walsh Park is gonna
Walsh
be
Park.
an art park.
Art Park, yep. Yep, so that'll be really nice to get complete on that side for sure.
Absolutely. Awesome. Chamber of Commerce, I'm still trying to recover from Fiesta days. But I do know they have the wine walk coming up that'll be in town, and I don't actually know the date, but I think that's the next big event that they've got going on in the community. September 15th. So that's what's happening in the chamber as of right now, what I know. The Downtown Business Association,
I think that they're
yeah,
kind of
that's-
on their way out.
Okay.
Not true. I
Oh.
just talked to Kim Lowy the other night.
Alrighty
I just talked to her when I was walking Green Street last week, and they had a meeting, and it was going to be dissolved, but by the end of the meeting, she is continuing it. She has agreed to continue on as president. The group is going to stay the same as it was, for now. That was what I was just told last week. So I would check with her, that's you, Nick.
I haven't seen the notes yet.
I would
was
check
not
with
able to attend
her
the meeting,
and
so.
see if there's a different meeting schedule
Yeah.
or whatever, but as of last week, she is staying on.
And I think a lot of, if I think a lot of that has to do with the events committee we're putting together, which we have a meeting tomorrow to discuss that, to where all these other organizations can be in one room and all talk and work together. So we're looking to join that events committee, and I know that was a big thing that she was
Yep.
waiting on. So I think that's another reason why she's sticking it out and keeping it rolling. So.
So on that note, letter D, Downtown Supergroup is dissolved and is going to be replaced
That's
with
right.
the Special Events Ad Hoc Committee.
Excellent, that's getting going tomorrow?
Yeah, we have a meeting tomorrow with several of the groups, the Chamber, Kim, Bill from Parks, Dorothy, and
Dorothy?
I probably didn't attach your email.
Uh-uh.
No, okay. Well, you're in a meeting tomorrow. I'll attach you to it. But you're in a meeting tomorrow at some point. I don't even remember what time, but we'll talk after the meeting. But But yeah, so we're just gonna get in and discuss how we can make this thing work and make sure that everyone's on the same page. So when there's an event going on, everyone is a part of it versus someone feeling like they're not a part of it at all, so.
Excellent, I think that's
That'll
such a
be
great
good.
idea.
So is that the planned events or just, so, I mean,
Plan and organization.
Yeah, organization, like even St. Patty's Day. I mean, getting the chamber to be part of it more than just coming and selling beer.
Mhm.
How can they get part of it and make it even a bigger event and more successful for all the businesses in the downtown district and the city? So I think there's always been issues, even prior to me being like that, is the communication between all the organizations. It's very frustrating because you think you got everyone on board and then someone's not on board because they didn't know about it or whatever. So this way, everyone will be on the same field.
All events need city services, so if the DBA was doing their own events, they still need use of public works and parks and things like that for many of them. So this is a way to keep, and that's what the supergroup did. That was its purpose was to bring the DBA, the chamber, and the city together to work together on doing things for the downtown and the events, et cetera. So hopefully, as a community. That'll work.
is that only city sponsored type stuff, or is it anything? I mean, is it, you know, like McHenry Country Club puts on the, you know, the women's golf tournament, or they host a, you know, local qualifier for a senior event? I mean, is it that?
This
Is it
is-
everything, or are you not promoting things, you're just?
No.
No, it's
It's more
city,
of city
things
property.
that are using parks and streets and
Anything
the
they do
runs,
outside
the
the
Santa
location,
walk, the
physical
things that
location.
involves all three of us, the three committees together. Plus Visit McHenry County, then help, if they're a part of it, they promote as well. It helps bring, people to the events and to our downtown.
All right, Landmark Commission, I know Rob's on that and he's not here, I don't know if anyone knows anything.
Their chairman had just resigned and, just waiting to kind of address that situation.
All right, planning and zoning,
We have a meeting September 19th, and we have a skilled nursing facility at Ridgeview Drive and Bovide Road, and the Chapel Church at 1809 South Route 31 and Pioneer Center are partnering to put a second pads facility within that building as part of that building, not just the pads, but the Chapel Church would still be in there as well.
Can you repeat that?
The Pioneer wants to put their, instead of expanding the Woodstock pads, put a second facility inside the chapel building on South Route 31 in McHenry for about 60 people, mostly women and children and youth, but doesn't exclude men totally. That would, if it happens, would save them a lot of money. It makes sense, it's a good partnership, a decent location. It's either that or expand the one in Woodstock.
Well, because that's the last I had heard, they were looking at adding all of that property out there.
Yeah, that's the other option.
Okay.
So I guess it's not totally a done deal, obviously, because it has to be approved, and there's still a ways to go, but those are the two options.
excellent. Does anyone else have anything before we adjourn that isn't on the agenda for old business? All right. Our next meeting will actually be meeting for the tour September 11th, and then our next meeting of the commission will be September 25th, right here. Do we need a motion to adjourn? Or
Yes.
we need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Actually, do you want economic development commission cards? Do you two want a few? Just in case you go do something and just to give
They know.
somebody numbers.
To give
call
somebody
for-
Dorothy and Doug's
It's
name
just
sitting
mine
here
and
alone.
Doug's.
Cell phone on it?
It just got it does not have Doug's cell phone number on it. I put
gave
our
him Doug's.
office numbers
Nice.
only
I gave
on
him
the
Doug's
cards.
cell
I'm thinking of changing all my cards to
Doug's cell phone.
you know.